Hey, great Friday evening. It is a beautiful evening in the city of Brownsville, Texas, and it's been a humdinger of a day. It's a humdinger of a day. It's just been a very, very busy day. It's Friday, and you usually expect Fridays to be like the closing of your week, so you rush on and try to do everything you need to do, and such is the case. But I think one of the things that I think Kathy and I were talking about earlier, actually today, I think probably during the morning, I can't remember, but it's not easy uh, being a small business owner in the city of Brownsville. And it's not easy because a lot of it has to do you have to work your business, or else you're not going to reach the reason why you opened a business to begin with. And what happens is that a lot of us, we start from the ground up, we work our way up, and we dedicate a lot of time to our business. I think it's one of the things that I have issues with a lot of the people that I work with, because I'm here till 10 o'clock at night, and this is, I think, part of the work that we do. But we work, we go to events as much as possible. We try to be a part of the community in regards to the meetings and such, and speaking at them. And we don't sit on any boards and committees. Can you imagine, Kati? Everything that we do, you growing a business, and then sitting on multiple boards and committees out there?
You know, it's beyond me when I see all these either push cards or bios or resumes, and all of a sudden, a candidate has like 5 boards, 6 boards, or 7 boards that they're on. Okay, so we have our daily lives, right? Our responsibilities and obligations to our job, so we can pay our bills, right? So we can be good abiding citizens, and then we have a family, right? And then they sit on all these boards. Are they really productive? Are they really being productive? I don't think so. I am going to tell you that my commitment is every day I wake up, I thank God, and I go to work, I take care of my clients. Besides being a realtor, I also have a business up in San Antonio, and getting ready to launch by April. And for me to be, I'm right now, I was part of the legislative, I was the chair for the legislative committee for the Brownsville Board of Realtors. And we'll get into a little bit further than that once I elaborate. But I was the chair for that. And that's because I could not handle more. If I'm going to commit, I'm going to commit to do everything that I can during that time and focus on that. So if I have to focus on my real estate, plus my business, plus my family, plus being a chair or on a board, can you imagine throughout the week if I was to meet? I I, I don't think I could be functioning properly, or would I have the mind to be able to focus on the issues that I have to, defend or challenge? I don't see how people can do that. Or is it just a title that they want, or they
Well,
want to flaunt? You know, I
I
really
think,
don't get it.
and look, and I think the dynamics of having these boards and committees out there, I understand, because these are volunteer positions. So you've got the city commission, to say, and then they've got these boards and committees. Part of the reasoning, I think you could correct me if I'm wrong, with having these, is to have other individuals throughout the community, sharing the responsibility of oversight. So what I'm getting at is, you've got, a beautification committee. You can't be at everything out there. So you've got individuals on there that are going to, look at it and then come back to you with some feedback in regards to, this is what we propose in these areas. But how would it work if I've got all these committees, and I, as a mayor of the city of Brownsville, sit on three or four of them? It doesn't make any sense, because you've got over 200,000 people here. I would say here in the city of Brownsville, we probably got close to 300,000 people living here in the city of Brownsville that could just as well easily serve on these boards and committees. Why is it always the Brian Martinez, the Roy de las Chanclas, the John Cowens, the Jessica Tetros, the Linda Macias? Why is it always the same? The Sampayos, the Signs, the Langleys, the Jude Benavides. Why is it always the same people going on all these boards and committees? I mean, is there no one else in the city of Brownsville that may be able to, have a seat on there and have a little bit of oversight? Or are they benefiting from them financially?
You
Because
know
that's the
that
only thing that makes sense.
you know that you're right, because I've had people that when I was on the school board, I appointed people that would ask me, say, Ms. Presses, would you consider me being on this committee, or if there's something that I can assist, I have time. And that's who you want. You want people that are interested in being part of the community, not just your same people, right? I mean, that's why I guess the citizens of Brownsville feel the way they feel. They feel a disconnect because the leaders themselves do not go out of their little group or clique in reaching out to other people that are capable and able to participate in those committees or those boards. And now it's my understanding that they say, well, if you want to be in that committee or that board, you need to go on the City of Brownsville website, you need to log in. But it's my understanding that they need to vote on it, or they need to elect, and they need to all be in agreement that you can be in that board or that committee. Well, you know what, it's so unfortunate that we've had issues with PUB, right? And
Right?
some of those people have been part of a clique,
Yep.
part of a group, an elite group. We go back to what every time that I say, the citizens of Brownsville, I am as tired and as disgusted as some of you are. All I hear is that, ¿para qué? Son los mismos. Todos son ratas. Todos son sinvergüenzas. Nobody's going to do good for the citizens. Well, you know what? We can't give up. As citizens, we cannot give up. That's why they continue to do what they do. Pay attention to the people that know what they're saying. They're going to defend you regarding the issues that they don't want for you to know, or the challenges of, like, for example, our infrastructure. I'm curious to know who has done a study in regards, a feasibility study in regards to the infrastructure of our community, the city. I mean, the city's growing very rapidly, very quickly. It's no longer, when I grew up, the city limits were up to Boca Chica, and Ruben Torres FM 802 used to be outside city limits. When I grew up, that's how far the city limits was. Ruben Torres was considered outside city limits. Then we expanded. And then Tejon Road, which is Alton Glore, used to be outside city limits. 802 was already annexed. Then we moved further. And, but everything was growing. The city commission back then, the mayors were paying attention, and our streets were being paid, they were being paved, not just patched. They were not just patched. There's a lot of issues that if you don't pay attention to what these people are doing or not doing, you keep reelecting them. You keep reelecting them. Sometimes it's good to keep stability, but only if they are doing their job. You know, so some of these people, they get elected and then they're coming back for seconds or thirds. It's their third time around to serve you or to represent you, and what have they really done? Pay
Nothing.
close attention.
Well, I'm frustrated, and I've always made mention. The first time that I ran for office was 8 years ago, and I ran for mayor of the city of Brownsville, the same position that I'm seeking today. And again, folks, how is your life better 8 years into this game? 8 years ago, I made mention that the number one problem with the city of Brownsville, and I'd love to go back to listen to a sound bite. But the number one problem with the city of Brownsville were these boards and committees. I made mention of it 8 years ago, and it's still an issue today. And very, very simple. I could prove my claim just for the Tenasca audit. But because it was that board and committee that we learned that they lie, they cheat, they steal. It's what they do, and it's how they do it that is so disgusting. And let me say, when 4 years ago, when John Cowan, Nerith Kalonsky, Trey Mendez were elected to be on the city commission, I had applied to be on GBEC, if I'm not mistaken, and John Cowan just North Kalonsky, Ben Neese voted no, hell no, and great, that's fine. Uh, I met up with him afterwards, after the meeting, by accident at Terras when it used to be on Elizabeth Street, and walk in, and John Cowan goes like, "Oh, nothing personal to us, it's just business," and I didn't get what he was trying to say back then because it wasn't personal. It's all about business. And it's their business, it's their self interest. The reason why they pick the people that they pick to be on these boards and the committees. They're going to put yes people on these boards and committees until they can't, and then they put themselves. That's why John Cowan is the chair for GBEC. It makes no sense, despite the fact that it goes against the charter. You cannot run for office and be serving on one of the boards of the committees. And, it just doesn't make sense. But they refuse to resign because there's no one that's going to hold them accountable. Because what they wind up saying, Kati, is, well, it's not illegal, it's just unethical.
But let me tell you, I was the chair for the legislative committee for the Brownsville Board of Realtors, and I was asked if I could chair that committee because we have several committees. We have the educational, we have the tree pack, we have several committees within our Board of Realtors. And when I decided to run for this position, I thought, okay, so I am the chair. I am running for this position. I cannot hold this seat any longer. I will have to resign. Tell my board, the president of the Board of Realtors, Mr. Martinez, I am honored, and I'm very grateful that, again, because I was brought back. I was on that committee, and then last year I couldn't be on it, and so they brought me back. And I spoke to him on Monday, and I said, Mr. President, I am sorry, but I I got to share this with you. It is unethical. It is not right. I am a candidate, and if we are asked to speak to the realtors, I don't want for it to be a conflict and unethical. That is something that we are held at the highest standards in this by the state of Texas as realtors. That ethics is a very, very important and crucial factor in our business, and we need to live by it and abide by it. So when I spoke to Mr. Martinez, the board president from the Board of Realtors, he says, Ms. Gatti, thank you for stepping up to the plate. And we were talking about that, and we know that you're a good person, but as they tell us in the state of Texas, the realtors are some of the best people to be able to represent locally in political positions in their city because they know so much about what is really going on, development, growth, you name it, right? So he says, we're happy that you're taking you know, that decision. And by that time, I had already spoken to a couple of other people if they would take my position to be able to lead the legislative committee and if they would chair it. And but you see, it came from me as a person that believes that ethically that is what you're supposed to do if it's
The right thing.
written for you, if it and the charter makes it very clear. And I'm so disgusted, so disappointed that these people that are serving on those boards have yet to step up to the plate and come before the citizens and the community and say, I am no longer on that board and I am stepping down. But what does that tell you then, as in them as individuals? What does that say of their character, of how they
Right.
respect, or do they really even understand what ethics is?
Well, again, and just to reiterate, look, guys, you have to have boards and committees, and you have to have a wide variety of individuals serving on them. You need to have individuals throughout the community that are going to represent their little section of Brownsville and come back and give the city commission and the mayor feedback in regards to different aspects of it. Guys, serving as a mayor or as a city commissioner and then serving on multiple boards or committees, it's a disservice to the community. It should not be. There is no checks and balances. There has to be some form of checks and balances. There's got to be a way for other individuals to bring information onto the city commission. Guys, it's not that oh I want to be on six boards and committees. First of all, I don't, but I can't. It's impossible, guys.
It's impossible.
It's
There's no way.
impossible. And that's the reality of it. It's impossible. You can't. You cannot serve more than two masters. You can't serve two masters. You've got to stay focused on what you're going to do, because it's when you spread yourself thin, it's that when all these shenanigans happen. But look, the reason that these individuals want to be on every board and committee is because then they get to give to their buddies all the little perks that should go to the people of Brownsville. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. Why does Brian Martinez have to be on four committees or boards?
Now I
Why?
have a question. Isn't Brian Martinez, wasn't he involved with the Mini Foundation also or something like that?
Yes, he got hired for the Mini Foundation, got fired. It was a marketing thingamajig, got paid $75,000 and, got terminated.
And you see, we go back to the people that are on the commission right now, right? They come across like they're these, and I've told people, pay attention as to who's with who. There's a big difference when we are elected and we are supposed to work together. No doubt. It's like in my business. I'm a realtor. I represent my buyer, my seller, and then there's another realtor, and then involved, and then they represent their buyer, the seller, depending on the type of transaction that we're doing. And besides that, there's already four people involved in that transaction. We don't always know each other. We're not the best of buddies, but our goal is to do business and to do it ethically and to abide by the contract and everything that's there written. Okay. So not only is there four people involved, you get the appraisal. That's five. Then you get the lender. That's six. And at times you even get, there's probate, there's attorneys involved. And guess what? We don't all know each other, like I say, but we are working together for one purpose and the mission and the vision to make sure that that transaction is done properly and that we get to the end of the line at the same time, meeting our deadlines. I don't understand why, if some of these people that get elected, why wouldn't they be able to work together? Does it always have to be a clique? Because I
Oh,
don't have a clique in the real estate. We all just work together, and we know that we have to work with the best of our ability, have the best knowledge that we can for their clients, and make sure that we do it ethically and professionally.
well, I think one of the things that is lost to a lot of these folks is the reason that you should be running for office. You should be running for office to serve the community. And one of the things that, and I'm going to say this again, Kati is proven, I am proven as servants to the community. I don't care what anyone says. You may not like Kati, and you may not like Erasmo, but you can never throw in our face that we are not servants of our community. We've stepped up to the plate. We've placed our name on the ballot. We continue to fight for Brownsville without having elected positions. We fight for you. That is the true servant. These individuals, they come and pretend to be serving the community whenever they're out there pandering for votes. But the problem, Kati, And I don't want to, beat a dead horse. The problem, guys, is that people in Brownsville vote stupid. Stupid. Look, I had an encounter this morning, and look, and I understand where individuals are coming from, but let me say, guys, I expect to have to work on the individuals that normally wouldn't vote for an Erasmo Castro. That's where I have to put my focus on as a candidate, Kati, on the individuals that want to know, what Erasmo Castro is going to do for the community. And listen, folks, individuals that I cannot reach through my social media network or platform. Those are the individuals I want to focus on. I don't want to focus on my friends. They already know who Erasmo Castro is. They worked with Erasmo Castro. Erasmo Castro has stood with you in marches, in fights, before committees, before the same commission. I don't want to have to go convince you to vote for Erasmo Castro, especially when these imbeciles on the city commission, John Cowan and Jessica Tetreault, both of them kicked you in the nuts. Why do I have to convince you? And these guys, John Cowan and Jessica Tetreault, have kicked all our community in the nuts. All of them. All of them. I'll give you one example, PUB. Have they said anything, Katy, on PUB? Anyone? Entonces, ¿de qué le sirve a Linda Macías estar en BCIC? Did she make mention how Trey wanted to pocket $200,000? No. Why? Because they're in the same clique. Did she get pissed off when the Limas wanted to extend the historical district to encompass 1828, that piece of crap restaurant? No, she said nothing. So ¿de qué nos sirve la mendiga vieja on there, Katy? ¿De qué nos sirve? What good is she as a BCIC board member if people are going to be pocketing money left and right that should go to the people of District 2? And that's what pisses me off. Where was John Cowan, Jessica Tetreault, Linda Macias? Where were they? Brian Martinez serves on every other board. Where were they when these people were pocketing your money, folks? And you still want to say, like, well, I haven't decided if I should vote for Linda Macias or John Cowan or Jessica Tetreault. Are you nuts?
And then if something goes south, there they are whining. Well, guess what? Didn't pay attention, did you? You know, um, it's just so devastating for us to see how Brownsville is still, it's still at a set still. The little things that they do, they want for us to say, oh, wow, my goodness, Brownsville has really changed. No, I've had people that come back to Brownsville and they've been gone for 15, 20 years and they say nothing has really changed.
No.
They see Brownsville as the poor town when they left. They see it dirtier, worse than ever. Like nobody's really paying attention to what is really going on in our community. We still have the same poverty rate. It is what it is. There's a lot of poverty in our community. And yes, we are a border town, and you see a lot of that in border towns. But again, let's reiterate, when your mayor or your elected officials flaunt, we live in the poorest city of the US. Let me tell you, to me, it's a shame. And they shouldn't be flaunting it. Okay? Tell me what you're going to do to get it out of the poverty stage. Tell me what you brought to the community besides SpaceX, which was already in the making for a while, because those things take time.
State of Texas.
Huh?
It was the state of Texas, the governor's office that brought us SpaceX. It wasn't any of these people.
Yeah.
They've done nothing.
And you see, but they unfortunately, these people, they go hooray, hooray, hurrah, hurrah with these little things when they really haven't focused on the actual challenges that we have. There's a lot to be done. There's more that we need to go out there and do for the community. We need to start focusing on the infrastructure. We need to start focusing on PUB, bringing that monster back into the where they are being looked at, and everything is being watched over. I mean, PUB was let go for too far, too long, and nobody paid attention. And as leaders, if you know that that's part of your responsibility and your obligation to question things, whether you question it through the administration, like your city manager, because your leaders are supposed to hold your city manager accountable. It's like your board members are supposed to hold the superintendent accountable. So if you elect us, of course, it's the citizens and it's your leaders, because the citizens are the ones that place the leadership. But if you have weak leaders that don't are not tenacious enough, are not strong enough to ask the questions, and will not follow up with the administration that they need to ask questions, then guess what? Everything starts falling apart. But if they have personal agendas, their own personal things that they want to get done because of their abuse of power, of course, you go to the city of Brownsville, and some of those employees, they've tried. But guess what? If they don't have the tools, or they don't have the training that is necessary for them to help the citizens when they go there, it's chaos. And then they say, don't compare to McAllen. Stop. We need to compare ourselves to the next sister cities, so we know that we're falling behind and they're doing better. Now they say they have Reynosa, Monterrey. Stop. Stop. Because people from Monterrey and people from Reynosa used to come to Brownsville to shop. They used to come here to shop. We don't have as much to offer like they have up there in the Upper Valley. And the sad part is that we have a port, we have ground, we have air, we have point of entry, we have rail, we have everything that our city would be doing so much better if we were to have the right leaders that had no self personal interest. And the only priority is, how are we going to turn around this city to a better city and educate our citizens and bring them the tools that are necessary in order for them to get out of poverty. There's ways. There are ways, and it can be done.
Well, Kathy, again, I'm going to beat a dead horse.
Hmm.
I was fighting with that Lisa chick. I don't know what her name is. I don't care. I said, I challenged her because she was like, oh, no, John Cowan is a servant of the. I said, okay, fine. One accomplishment. Tell me one thing that John has done for the city of Brownsville as a whole. One. She couldn't name one. And this is one of his lick his boots supporters. She couldn't name one. And I challenge anyone. Tell me what John Cowan, Jessica Tetreault have done for you while sitting on the city commission. Just one. That's all I'm asking. They've done nothing. Jessica has been a waste of space for 12 years, driving around her Tesla with her glass dress and that blue dress, the only one she wears, her Pradas and her Gucci, Louis Vuittonish crap or whatever. What has John Cowan done? Nothing. Nothing. And look, Linda Macias is one of those that'll throw, oh, I'm BCIC. What have you done for Brownsville? Girl, what? I was part of Leadership Brownsville. Doesn't sell me anything. Doesn't tell me a damn thing. Tell me
Hey,
one
you,
thing that you have done.
you know that this they flaunt themselves with that leadership Brownsville. I never went or attended leadership Brownsville. My dad, I'm very blessed that I was raised by a military father. And you know what? He guided me. And he said, if you have it in you and you are not afraid to stand up for what's right, you have those leadership skills within you. And it's up to you to pick up a book, to learn, to educate yourself, and be a fighter when you have to take the challenge. And this leadership branch, what do they tell you? Oh, this is an entity of where this was established, and oh, and this is a school district, and yada yada yada. Okay, you know what? I've seen a lot of those leadership, Russell, and there's a very small percentage that have truly, truly done well from that program. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I never attended it, but let me tell you, I worked in the entities that I've represented it, and let me tell you, I'm very proud of what I have accomplished because I've done it wholeheartedly with much passion, much love, and not only that, because I care for the citizens, because we're all in this together. It's all about us citizens. It's not about the leaders. It's because they forget. Some of the people that get elected, they forget. And guess what they say? Oh, they can't do anything because you know what? They can't remove me. I already got elected. I've heard them say that. These ears have heard what some of those elected officials have said. And it's a shame because they laugh at us. Se burlan, literally, because they know they can't remove them from office.
Now,
Even if they were to get convicted, it takes a while before you can remove them.
it makes no sense. And that's what's really irritating. But again, guys, I'm going to run this race, going to give it my all, going to do some block walking next week, going to go do the political thing, have people passing out flyers and stuff. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Then I want out, you know? And then, if people want to eat crap, let them eat crap. John Cowan is crap. Jessica Tetro is crap. Linda Macias, crap. If that's what you want, guys, if you want a part of that little Roy de los Santos little clique people, more power to you guys. They've done nothing for you. Nothing except taken from your children, squandered your resources, and pocketed the money that should go to the people of Brownsville. So if you want more of that, more power to you.
But
And I hate to say,
Erasmo, getting back to that, the charter, because I had already read the charter and it's there. It's on the Brownsville on the website, right? So it says that they cannot be part of a board and run for the seat. It says there. It's clearly it states, right? They're part of a board, of right committee. So I don't get it. They're elected officials or they're already on those and they just don't care. Obviously, if they don't care now, what makes you think they're going to care later? Stop and think about it.
well, one of the things that I was mentioning is it's just so amazing that the rules apply to us all. They don't apply to them. They apply to us. Look at guys. Nice seriedad. There's no nice seriedad.
There's no seriousness.
No,
Where's the seriousness of the business of the
no,
of
nice seriedad. And it's something that Kathy and I spoke about, but I shared this morning. Look, guys, Kathy and I and Susan Rubalcaba and Tino Villarreal, we were all asked to meet at the city chambers. When we were out there drawing for numbers, all asked to meet out there. We were there, 10:30 in the morning. We were there. We were there before the time, out of respect to the candidates, out of respect to the city of Brownsville. We were there on time. I scooted my butt from my office all the way up there to the second floor on my scooter, but I was there. We didn't start at 10:30. We started at 10:50, Kathy?
1052. 1052.
10:52. That's when we started. And the reason we didn't start is because we had to wait for the princess and for the prince, John Cowan and Jessica Tetro, to show up. Who does that? So if Ekati, had a client that she needed to take care of, and Erasmo had a wedding to do, were they going to wait till 10:52 for Kati and for Erasmo? And I'm not trying to be petty. I'm not trying to say like, oh well, but the rules have to apply to everyone, folks. And this, and you may think, Erasmo, that's just insignificant. It's petty. It's small. It's just like picking it. No, think of the bigger picture, guys. When they think that they can get away with anything at all because the rules don't apply to them, that's when you get a Tanasca. That's when you have $179 million missing. That's when you have a bridge to nowhere. That's when you get tightened tires. That's when you get a fly frontera. That's when you get no performing arts center at BISD. Everything. There's no accountability because the rules don't apply to anyone that is in power. They just apply to you and they apply to me. This is one of the reasons why Kati was being censored
Mm.
at
At
BISD.
BISD? Yes, it's true. Gatti was being, and they changed they changed when that happened. Let me tell you what happened then. I could not put an agenda item unless I had two more board members supporting my questioning of an item. So if I had only one more board member that agreed with me, we were lacking still another one. So they made it so difficult for the citizens of Brownsville not to have a true voice. I mean, hey, we all have the right to question things. You elect us to be able to go out there and say, hey, what's going on here? When is this going to be taken care of? You know, enough is enough. Let's take care of the problem. That's why we're the way we are, because no one really puts the pressure where the pressure needs to be placed. And I'm not saying that it's our job to talk to the administration below the city manager. We have a process and we will abide and follow that process. But at the end of the day, we have to hold someone accountable. And that someone is either, if you're on the school board, your responsibility is to hold the superintendent accountable. And if you're in the city commission or mayoral, you have to hold that city manager accountable. At the end of the day, that's where it goes. You question the city manager, and we ask and say, is it good or is it bad, or what? How is it going to be taken care of? Who's going to take care of the problem? Because if you are getting paid a salary and your administrators are not doing the job, it's your problem. At the end of the day, this is who we hold accountable, because we
Yeah.
can't go and get the administrators and talk to them and emphasize and enforce things from them. We can't. That's not our job. But our job is to make sure that everything is moving in the right direction and that what needs to be taken care of or corrected is corrected. That's our job. And the finances, making sure that the city is it's stable enough, financial enough to be able to sustain itself the way it needs to, with all the services that need to be provided for the citizens of Brownsville.
Well, it's just really unfortunate because at the end of the day, we have no voice unless we elect individuals who are not a part of that same little clique that doesn't abide by the rules, that continue to swamp every opportunity that anyone else in the city of Brownsville has in order to get a foothold in regards to what's going on. Look, Susan had to pay $3,000, folks. $3,000 to get public information. And that boggles my mind for two reasons. We paid $3,000, guys, for public information. It boggles my mind because, first of all, it should be public information. Just the word. It's public information. It should be accessible. Second, that's why we elect these commissioners. That's why John Cowan got elected. That's why, unfortunately, Jessica Tetreault got elected. For them to oversee this crap, to come back to you and say, this is what went wrong. But none of them did. Now, everyone wants to run on lowering your PUB bill. Where were they these past 4 years? Where were they these past 12 years? They were out there voting for the rate increases that you're paying now. And now they want to go out there and fight for the solution, folks. I mean, que no seamos los idiotas de esta gente. It's got to stop. We got to start electing, voting individuals that are not a part of that corrupt political machine, that are going to be loud, that are going to scream, that are going to fight for you and not for the 1% that rules Brownsville.
And it's so unfortunate because you know, people need to either spread the word, start talking about it, because elections are important. You know, when we can't complain, my dad used to say, you don't vote, you keep your mouth shut. You vote, you have every right to go and tell that elected official how you feel and what you expect. That's why I do it. And you know, it is what it is. Unfortunately, you have to let them know, because sometimes I guess they feel that they're doing the greatest thing for you, and in reality, they're lacking to do what they're supposed to do for the community.
Well, at the end of the day, all you want is for these individuals to do the right thing.
Do the right
You know,
thing, respect, don't have personal agendas, don't don't be corrupt. Enough is enough. Brownsville needs to be moved in the right direction. You know, Brownsville needs good leadership, you know, in order for us to be able to get to be out of that poverty recognition. You know, I think it's become a recognizable kind of, how should I put, I want to make it sound nice, but in the stage that we're in as a city, in other words, you know, being the poorest city in the US is not something to be proud of. Honestly, it's not.
hell no.
That just goes to show that our leaders are not doing their job. They're not. And you have district commissioners, you have at large commissioners, and then you have a mayor, and then you have your county commissioners, your county judge, and then you have all these other leaders in the port, in the college. At the end of the day, we're all supposed to be united, and we're all supposed to be focusing on the same issues, you know, on the same challenges that we're having. You know, we sometimes, I think there's been times where they say, well, you know, what is this entity doing, and why aren't they doing it, you know? But we're supposed to be working together in unity. We get a lot more done.
Well, again, all we want is a fair shake. All we want is a seat at the table. And by we, I mean we, the community. We just want to sit there at the table with Elon and say, "Oh, why? Why can't we get, our fair share? Why can't we get what's coming to the city of Brownsville? Why is it always directed towards that 1%, that rich and little elitist group that continues to pocket the resources that should go to the people of Brownsville? Why?" And we have no one asking why. The only question that they're asking is, how much is my cut? And that's what's unfortunate. And it's got to stop. And Police Officer Association, Board of Realtors Association, every association out there, every group needs to come together behind the candidates that are not a part of that corrupt political machine. It's time. You've got to start supporting, got to start funding, got to start breaking down with some cash here and there. It's just time. At least give us your time and go out there and make some phone calls and take people out to the polls, or else it's never going to work. And we'll continue to be labeled, as Kathy mentioned, the poorest community in the nation. And I get what Kathy's saying. Look, guys, Susan put up a post, and I really liked it. She made mention, how her family, was a blue collar working family growing up, and the only time that they had to, ask for food stamps was when their father got sick. And that's commendable, because that should be everyone's goal, not to be always con la mano extendida for a handout. That's how they want us to be, with all these grants. And then what really pisses me off is then they go out there and they like se levantan el cuello. Oh, we got another grant. We got another handout. We got more money from the feds. We got more cash coming in. You're supposed to be happy with us. We're like, bitch, when is our time to be starting to give out grants to other people? When is it our turn to be out there and giving scholarships to our students? Why are we always taking grants from all over the place? Just because we're the poorest community that's nothing to be proud of, Kati. That's nothing to be proud of.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And you know what? When your local leaders want you to depend off of your government, that's the cost of non-educated people, poverty, dependent on your leaders and the funding that they give to you so you can survive on a minimum, whatever they think they feel that you can, survive with. I mean, what better than making sure that if we bring jobs over here, that they're not just jobs for outsiders. Let me tell you, SpaceX brought in a lot of people from outside, and it's unfortunate, and it hurts me to say, they said that we didn't have the quality of people for the highest paying salaries that they had. They had to bring their people from the outside, and it is a true. It's true. Because as realtors, we saw it and we lived it. We worked with these people that were moving in from out of state so they can come and work for Elon Musk. We were blessed and we were fortunate enough to at least get some subcontracting from local contractors that do the hard labor work. But yet, um, I spoke to an engineer and he said that our engineering down here was very weak. Our schooling for engineering. So it's pretty depressing when you hear that. It's sad. So for us to be told that we're not good enough or we're not the caliber of people, that's wrong. This is where the leaders step up to the plate and say, wait a minute, my people, my citizens are worthy. If we have to teach them and educate them and get them to a vocational trade, and if we have the funding of these programs that are out there, what are we doing to make sure that we encourage them and that we empower them to make sure that they get the opportunity? Because a lot of it is about opportunities that we bring to our citizens. And it's our job, it's our duty to be out there and questioning all these other entities that are supposed to be doing their job. We have BCIC that helps people with funding to be able to open up their business, right? Erasmo,
Yep,
BCIC.
100%.
And then we
That's
have
the purpose.
GBIC, and then we have GBIC, right? So we have all these other things that we could, right, bring to the table and say, okay, guys, are we really doing what's best for the citizens? You know,
And unfortunately, the answer is no.
it's
Uh,
just
it's unfortunate, guys. We got to stop having that handout mentality and start taking pride in all the natural resources that we have, enough to sustain the city of Brownsville. It's like when people would say about Mexico, like, "Oh, Mexico's poor." Mexico is one of the richest countries in the world.
wealthiest.
One of the wealthiest countries in the world. They have everything. They've got precious metals. They've got oil. They've got agriculture. One of the wealthiest countries in the world. Tanto así que todos estos ratas no se lo han acabado
No se lo han
todavía.
acabado. No se,
No se lo han acabado.
dice mi madrecita que es de México, mamacita, México es tan rico, tiene
Súper
tanta
rico.
riqueza que todos estos bolas de sinvergüenzas y ratas desde Cheverría, desde Salinas, todos los que han entrado y han salido,
No se lo han
no han
acabado.
acabado. And it's
The
a
same
shame
thing.
because if Mexico was to have good leaders and stop the corruption, right? Which it's never, because that's the mentality,
Yeah.
right? Because some of that also bleeds into our border towns, right? It is the truth,
And
you
that's
know?
exactly what happens to Brownsville.
Yes,
Exactly the case.
it is what it
Guys,
is.
we have the resources to be one of the rich cities in the state of damn Texas. Maybe even in the whole damn country, guys. Think about it. These pieces of crap, like John Cowan and Jessica Techo and the Limas brothers and the Macias and the Brian Martinez, they're the ones that have kept us poor because it's easier to control those who feed off the crumbs that fall off the tables of the 1%. And it's got to stop. And it can stop May 6th. It's that simple. Yeah, got to put an end to these people sucking on the resources that should go back to this community. And it begins with you and you and you and you and you and you. Every single one of you that's listening tonight. But to this date right now, I'm still waiting to hear from a lot of y'all. I'm still waiting. Because at the end of the day, guys, I'm going to be okay. The city won't. And that's unfortunate. Because Kati is growing in her business. I'm doing okay. But will you be okay? Will your grandparents be okay? Will your parents be okay with these individuals taking from them, raising the utility rates, increasing the appraised value of your property to whereas they're buying you out of your homes? You're out. Have you seen the rents here locally recently? My God, you'd think you were living in Austin, Texas. And it's going to get worse. Kati, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anything other?
Pleasure talking to the audience. And for all of you out there, please pay attention. We ask that you focus on this election. It's important. It's going to be an important election, guys, because you have to elect a mayor. Remember the last one? Yes, he was on the he was at the UTRGV board, and people felt that he was the best and the greatest that would happen to this city, and
We got screwed.
not at all. Not at all. He turned out to be the worst, one of the worst ones. Yep. Pretty
We got
quiet, but like they say, beware those little quiet ones.
cuidado con los calladitos.
Cuidado con los calladitos. Mm-hmm.
Guys, have a great day. I'll be here Monday morning at 9 a.m. I do have a quick dentist trip Monday afternoon, but I'll be back in the swing of things Tuesday morning. Guys, it's time to unite behind candidates that are going to fight for you. Help us, help you,
Help you.
help us, help you. It's just that, not even asking for you to help us, help us, help you, because we together
We
can
are in
bring,
this together.
we together can bring about the change that this community desperately needs. It's up to you. We'll be okay either way.
Mm-hmm. We keep it
But
moving regardless.
yeah,
But at
we'll be
the end
okay.
of the day, we suffer together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, have a great weekend. God bless. Stay safe. Guys, see you Monday morning at 9 o'clock in the morning. Be good to each other.
Enjoy
Continue to
your
be drink up.
weekend, guys. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.